Hey guys, MCU Collector here with video number 5 in the Hasbro Marvel Legends series Black Widow Crimson Dynamo Build-A-Figure Wave. And here we have the first of 3 comic figure, actually 4, I guess if you include the Build-A-Figure. But this is the comic Winter Soldier. Now, of course, we've been due for a new comic style Winter Soldier figure. The last one was, I think, a 2-pack with Black Widow. So way back when, in those dark days of Marvel Legends. So here we finally have an updated one. Let's see how it is. I know this one and Crossbones are kind of among the most anticipated from this wave, especially Winter Soldier here. So we'll get right to it. We see we have the headpiece to the Crimson Dynamo Build-A-Figure. You have 2 guns that looks like we've seen these guns before. I think this one's come with Deadpool, like the retro Deadpool. And that's just a handgun right there. So we have the side artwork looking really good. It really highlights the blues and the browns of Winter Soldier, so that is really cool. Here on the back of the package, we have a look at the Crimson Dynamo Build-A-Figure, all the figures in the wave. To build him, we are up to the Winter Soldier. Next will be Crossbones and to Spy Master. The bio for Winter Soldier reads, Winter Soldier is a fierce combatant and an asset in battle, no matter which team he fights for. Sometimes bad guy, sometimes good guy. Here he is. Let's open it up. Oh, and has a Marvel logo up at the top. No Black Widow logo, of course, since it is comic. Here we go. And real quick, actually taking the figure out of the package, the insert actually has this really cool thing where you just see all the different logos to various different Marvel characters. Black Panther, Captain America, you got Guardians of the Galaxy, War Machine, Hulk, Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel. I'm not sure which one, this one, but probably Vision, I guess. So there's all kinds of things, and I wonder if this is going to be kind of the standard for all future comic book figures that aren't specific to like some kind of theme. You know, if it's an X-Men one, of course we're going to get an X-Men, things like that. So it's just kind of interesting that we get something like this. Okay, and here is the Winter Soldier figure out of the packaging, and I can see how this will definitely be the highlight for a lot of folks from this wave. But I'm actually kind of surprised. There's a lot of reuse to this figure that I really wasn't expecting. As you could see, he has the same entire lower body as the Killmonger figure, so the same belt and harness and everything that you see on the Winter Soldier is actually the same. So upper torso, the arms, head, that I think is going to be new, but the lower torso and everything has been reused that we got from the Killmonger. And then those legs are the same from like the Netflix Punisher. We've seen it over and over again, but it's still a very good figure. There's a couple of things, and we'll get into that as we get closer into the figure to take a look at it, which we'll do right now. Okay, so first thing we're going to look at is actually the accessories that he comes with, because he comes with 2 weapons. We've seen this over and over again, but the big thing that I really like about this is actually the color. So we get this nice gunmetal color for the gun, and that looks really good. But this is that same gun that's just all like rubbery, and you can bend it all kinds of around. Again, retro Deadpool had this, and I think some other figures had it too, but that's just the one that really comes to mind. We've seen this handgun pistol, several times, but it's in that same molded rubber plastic color, that gunmetal color, so I really like the way that looks. And here we have the Crimson Dynamo Build-A-Figure piece, and we're going to throw that in the pile over there. And we're going to take a look at James Buchanan Barnes, the Winter Soldier. In this figure, there's a lot of really good things, and there's a couple things that I just think are kind of weird to me, and it might just be me personally. But at first I want to point out, and I don't know how well it's going to come on video here, is that there's actually kind of like this wash color on the legs to give it, I guess, some added detail into the legs. And I think it's really going to be hard to see, because even like looking at it, I don't see it, but you can kind of notice that there's some flat paint spots where you see a little bit of shine through it, but then on some areas it looks really flat. We do get a wash here on the torso. It's hard to tell. You got these pouches right here, this harness, so it's hard to see it, but you actually do get a little bit of a wash, and they actually even did it on the back of the figure. Even though most of it's actually covered, it does have that wash in there, which is pretty cool. That looks pretty good. Again, this is all the same from the Killmonger figure. It's painted nicely though, so we get that same gunmetal color for those extra ammo magazines there. The grenades get that same color. This handgun gets that same color. So I like the consistency that they did there. The rest of it is just in brown. We get some silver for the buckle, but that's it. It does look good. It's just, reuse and everything from there. These pouches are just done in this like darker tan color. We get a little bit of silver on the buckles there. We have the star. It's got the blue and red there. The glove is blue. Here's where it just looks a little weird for me. So you have, when looking at him, of course, naturally this is a metal arm, so it's going to be bigger. I get it, but even for the size of the figure, this right arm just seems really, really small to me. And then looking at the hand, his forearm just comes very small, and then you go to the wrist and you have the hand. It just looks a little off to me and not really proportionate. I think that they should have had like a bigger arm for Winter Soldier, but you know, maybe it's just me. You guys let me know down in the comments below what you guys think of it. It just doesn't seem real proportionate, and again, I know metal arm, but I still think this should be bigger for the body. Head sculpt looks pretty good. The hair, they actually put some effort into the hair. We actually get a couple of different colors in that hair to really give it a nice textured look to it. Let's see if we can brighten this up a little bit. Maybe you guys can see it. So we get some browns in there, a couple different browns in there, and that looks really good. Looking at the head sculpt, paint apps are done nicely. The black for the around the mask. Eyes are painted nicely. We get this hair really comes off, so you get a lot of shade and shadow going in there, so it's hard to see, but oh, it looks really good. Paint apps are clean. You know, there's not a lot, but what is there is done nicely. Now let's see his articulation. Okay, so articulation for the Winter Soldier, he can look down that much, he can look up that much. His hair is going to get in the way, and of course Hasbro is, I guess they're doing this with most of their figures now. We got the ball joint instead of the neck hinge. Not sure why all these figures are starting to go back to that. I know it has kind of it can have a more natural look to the neck, but it does give it a lot of limitations. So in this case, I think it actually works fairly well, other than looking up, but mainly that's going to be because of the hair, and you don't notice the hinge, so that is good in that regard, I guess. It just depends on which figure has it and how it's going to work and look, but it works here with the Winter Soldier. You can get that shoulder to go up that high, you get the other shoulder to go up just about the same height. You get a full rotation, upper bicep swivel, you get a double jointed elbow. So here on the metal arm, you get a little bit more than 90 degrees. I forgot to mention this earlier. He also has that same watch that I think Killmonger had it as well, and the Luke Cage figure did as well. The right arm, you get the same same points of articulation. You can get it to go a little bit more than 90 degrees. Both wrists swivel. And then both hinge, as you can see there. He has an ab crunch. He can crunch forward that much, which isn't a huge amount. He can crunch back a little bit, but it does look very natural. Part of that is because this pouch is really going to hide some of it, but even in the back, it does have a very natural looking curve to it, so that works well. There is a waist swivel there. Legs go out that far apart. It can kick forward that far. Not really going to get any back motion out of there. There is an upper thigh cut. You get a double jointed knee, and this always has kind of that funky looking knee because of the way these legs are. There is no boot swivel, but he can hinge the foot all the way down. You can get it to hinge up quite a bit. You ankle pivot, and you have peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So decent articulation for this guy. It's just this arm that bothers me. But let's see how he compares to the movie version. Unfortunately, I don't have the older Hasbro figure from that 2-pack to show you guys. Okay, here is the Winter Soldier figure next to the first MCU Winter Soldier figure, and you can see that for the movie version, they really took a lot of inspiration from the comic to give something faithful, and we had that. The figure itself, though, is kind of garbage. Looking back at it, I haven't taken a close look at this figure in a really long time, but that figure is crap. It has some good things, you know, it has the wash kind of over the whole thing, so that is really cool. The sculpt itself, or the design of it, is pretty nice. The head sculpt was terrible because, you know, they didn't put a lot of effort into the head sculpts to give the actors likenesses, those kinds of things. The hand is painted with a shiny skin tone, orangey color. It looks weird. It's just really weird, but I like the look of it, I guess. So the design is just in figure form it's kind of bad. But there is the first MCU figure. Now let's see the second one. Okay, so here is the second MCU Winter Soldier figure. This one is so much better than the first, but still kind of crap in some regards. But you can see that at least they have the kind of the same colors going on with the blues, and then you could still see the inspiration on the design of the suit. But it's just not a very good figure. So either way, no matter how you look at it, the comic Winter Soldier figure is much better than the movie figures. And again, sorry guys, I don't have that original Hasbro release from the 2-pack to show a comparison with that, but I am sure this figure is far superior in it, total aesthetic and articulation, in the sense that it's all proportionate, whereas some of those earlier Hasbro figures just kind of looked a little wonky in my opinion. Just my opinion, but you guys let me know down in the comments below. Okay, and here is the Winter Soldier figure next to the Marvel Legends Stan Lee figure, and you can see he is way taller than Stan Lee. Okay, and here is the Winter Soldier figure along with all the other figures in the wave that I have reviewed, and you can see he's much taller than the others. This being the first of the comic figures that I have reviewed, I can easily say that this will be the best of the wave in terms of comic figures. Movie figure wise, I'm probably still leaning more towards Taskmaster because I'm an MCU guy. I am MCU collector, so that's why it's a lot of bias on my part, but it is still a very, very good figure, even though I think that arm just looks weird in my opinion. Still an awesome figure that I think all of you guys will really enjoy and really want to pick up. So definitely be on the lookout for that. It is hitting targets. I did get my set from my buddy Quinn up in Canada. Thank you, Quinn, so much for shipping out to me. But you guys let me know in the comments below what you think of it. Are you picking it up? I'm curious. If you guys like the video, please hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you for watching.